Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I am happy to inform you it is once again Monday, and you already know what that means. It is time for a new episode of 609 Sports Talk, and that episode begins right now. And once again, welcoming everybody back to episode number 53 of 609 Sports Talk, live here on Facebook, YouTube, and of course, if you can't catch us live, always can catch these episodes later on in the week as they drop on Spotify. And of course, you guys all know the deal already. 53 episodes. If you don't know the deal by now, I don't know what to tell you. We are the show that unites fans, ignites debate, and that's about it. We don't do anything else other than that.
Ignite fans.
But as always, we are your hosts, Sam Nelson, the fan of the team that can't get rid of Kyle Lowry, and of course, the former team that couldn't get rid of Kyle Lowry in the Miami Heat belongs to our other co-host, Mr. Kyler Adams.
We got rid of him, all right? We didn't hang on to him like a precious trophy from a decade ago.
Precious trophy? What in the world is that? Oh, yeah, we're not doing that. Never mind. Whoops. Whoopsie.
You're already igniting fans, Sam.
Oh, we're igniting, baby. We're off and running. But look, we have a lot to talk about this week. You know, NBA free agency took us all over the place last week. And there's a lot of NBA stuff that's happened just over the past 6 days since last week's show. Because, you know, that's what the sports world likes to do to us. It likes to break news after our show. So it ruins the whole week. So then we got to wait a whole week to talk about it.
Of course.
But we'll get into some of that NBA news. But to start tonight's show, in case anyone didn't realize it, we are only a few weeks away from training camp.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys already know what that means. We're going to jump back into the NFL talk for the next couple of weeks. We have a couple more divisions that we didn't get to before the NBA took over our lives for 2 weeks. But they've had their time. They'll get the second half of the show. There's nothing wrong with that. We'll get back to them, but we're going to go back to the NFL. We have two divisions that we did not get a chance to do our offseason fallout for yet, and that is the Northern Division. So this week, we are going to do an AFC North offseason fallout. Now, of course, we know the AFC North is a debacle. The Ravens are probably the classiest of the class. You know, they're still probably the favorites to win the division. The Browns have 19 quarterbacks, no good ones, like they always do, but a really gifted roster. Defensively, they're
Joe Cool.
No, knock it off. Well, look, they have a solid defense. They got some pieces offensively. They had a really good draft, in my opinion. So, you know, we'll talk about that. Yeah, the Bengals, I heard last week they had a father-son 11-on-11, but they made the Bengals offensive players play the defense because they have a better shot than the actual Bengals defense. So that's a thing. And then, of course, we have the clown show over up in northern Pennsylvania known as the Pittsburgh Steelers, which we're going to get to them because there was a big trade last week that we talked a little bit about. I'm sure we're going to talk about it more. Kyler, first off, how are you today, my friend?
Doing good. Another Victory Monday. We get to enjoy these up until September.
Are we just going to ride this up until the freaking season?
Of course. Do you not feel victorious this Monday, Sam?
Oh, I feel great. I just go on Twitter every day because at least one person says, let's not forget that the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
You got to see that one video of Cooper DeJean picking off Mahomes to the house at least once a day.
Oh, absolutely. it's a travesty if you don't. But Tyler, let's get into the show. I'm going to start with the famous question for you. The floor is yours. Is the AFC North still the Ravens division to lose? And if you would disagree, who has the best shot at going at the Ravens for that division?
Well, before I start this, I think it's going to be pretty simple. I want to talk some comments that came in real quick. Matt's in here. He said that your boy VJ Edgecombe, he's out tonight with a thumb contusion. He sounds like a perfect 76er. Everything's going well so far there. We could talk about that more later. Hey,
well, the chat's coming on here because for some reason I can't see the chat on my screen.
All right. Hey, we're Pitch Grid's in here. What's up, Pitch Grid Pod?
What's up, Pitch Grid? Anthony, what's Anthony saying over there? What
Anthony needs an invite for Fantasy League that we stopped doing 2 years ago.
Yeah, Anthony.
Anthony, we didn't even do one last year, man. We didn't do one. Yep. I did some random one that I joined. That was about it. Almost won it all. Couldn't reach it. It's been a while. Like the 76ers.
Oh my. Yeah, wait. VJ's out with man. That's yeah. Okay, sure.
He lit it up too much. The rest of the summer league. All right, we'll just call it how we see it.
It's called a rest.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
What's up, James?
What's up, Fratty? How you doing, brother? Fratty, you staying up for them? You staying up for them next 6 nights? I ain't. Damn West Coast trip.
All right, so now back to the grand question. This is the Baltimore Ravens division, and it's not theirs to lose. I don't see enough competition out of any other teams. We can talk about the Browns later, but just to put it in a basket real quick, Joe Flacco is going to be the starting quarterback. Let's move on. The Pittsburgh Steelers have probably, I don't know, maybe the same age quarterback as Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers. Now, I'm not going to diss Aaron Rodgers too much. I was the only one who really defended him for his time in New York last year. He actually didn't have a terrible season. He was probably better than like 16 other quarterbacks in the league, maybe more than that. So it wasn't the worst, wasn't the best. It was the New York Jets. I think they'll be decent. They have some moves that we need to talk about later on, some that I don't really agree with on the defensive side of the ball. They still got TJ Watt unhappy, so that's not good. And it brings me to the only team that really does have a chance, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the Bengals, they got their own stuff going on, right? Offensive line's still atrocious. They paid all their wide receivers, though. They can pass the ball. Cool. Defensive side of the ball. Where do I start? I still don't think they signed the kid. He might go back to college. Might go back to college and get an NIL deal for more money than his rookie contract. Who knows? Even though he's not worth it, he might get it anyways.
Sure.
They got the whole debacle with Hendrickson. You know, he wants out. They won't pay him. We've heard this game all before many times. Nothing new. So, an already weak Bengals defense. We saw how Joe Burrow tried to carry them along last year. He almost did it. He almost willed them into the wild card. But they just haven't gotten much better. I look at their roster and their depth chart. I'm not convinced. Defensively, they didn't get better defensively either. They may have got worse. Still will never support the Shamar Stewart draft pick. Secondary looks like burnt toast. Depends on if you like burnt toast or not.
Not a fan.
It's the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, they're going to win their division. The Ravens could probably win only 10 games next year, and they'll still finish well in first in their division.
That's sad.
It is sad.
That is that's sad. I don't really know how. I don't know what else. I don't know where you go from there. Real quickly, James is replying to me saying that they may have a post-game show on 302 Birds. I'm like, I don't know how you guys are staying up for them West Coast games. I can't do it.
AM post-game show?
Dude, they're starting at 9:45. Like, there's just... I may watch a pitch.
So Anthony said Stephon Diggs cheated and single now.
Oh, that's not a surprise.
Way to go, Stephon Diggs.
Diggs is doing his thing. Anthony also said, as long as Lamar is the QB, I don't see the Ravens going to the Super Bowl. That is got to be the possibly worst thing I've heard in a long time.
Hold on. Because we know Anthony might say some outrageous things. But if there's one thing he usually is, it's right. So he might have just spoken into existence. The Baltimore Ravens may never win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson, the quarterback. But no, Lamar, he's improved his game year after year when everyone doubted him. People said he couldn't throw the ball. He worked on throwing the ball, turned it over less, higher completion percentage. They still got some things to figure out themselves as far as the elite category of the AFC goes. They're definitely going to win their division, but they got a lot of work to do if they want to be able to beat teams like the Buffalo Bills, if they want to beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah. No disagreements here. What's up, Carol?
What's up, Carol?
But Anthony said it might be Lamar or the coach. Can we just stop ignoring the fact that the Baltimore Ravens literally have no legit pass-catching options outside of their tight ends?
Yeah, so we'll stay on the Ravens for now. What did they do? They still got Zay Flowers, still got Rashad Bateman. Didn't they extend Bateman?
Yes, they did.
It was an extension. They brought in D-Hop, whatever that gets you in 2025. I couldn't tell you.
Lord help us.
Other wide receiver depth. Trying to find a name I actually know.
Anthony Miller.
Him,
Tyler
maybe.
Wallace.
Dude, they all have one catch. If you look at Devontae Walker, one catch, 25 yards or 21 yards. Anthony Miller, one catch for 16 yards. What is their depth? They got nothing.
Their depth. Who are their starters?
It's literally three of them, and that's it.
Who's the third? Please tell me who the third is. Stop.
D-Hop's your third option. That's bad. Rashad Bateman as your second option is bad. Zay Flowers is out there basically just fighting for his life. I mean, Bateman last year, he had like 750, 9 touchdowns. He wasn't terrible. It would be nice, I guess, as your second option to maybe be closer to like 900 yards. But then you also got to think they are a very run-dominant team with Lamar and Derrick Henry. So obviously the receivers, they don't need the higher numbers. You know, they're not like the Bengals out there with like 2,000-yard receivers and Jamar Chase with like 1,500.
And let's not also forget that Justice Hill catches a lot of footballs out of the backfield.
He does. And they still have, if there's any Ravens fans, I'm sorry, Mark Andrews. He won't make the big catch in the playoffs for you, but he'll be reliable throughout the season. Isaiah Likely, he had a good start to the year last year. Kind of fell off the cliff. What they could get out of him, I mean, he's still a young player. Maybe they can get more production out of him this year.
I think that's highly likely.
Yeah, their offensive line, they always play good. You're never gonna have to worry about them.
No, I'm making fun of the joke that just went right over your head.
I probably tuned it out. I'm pretty good at doing that nowadays.
It just went in one ear and right out the other. You just completely whiffed on that joke.
I guess it wasn't funny enough.
Of course. But anyway, Anthony said, so you're saying the Ravens defense... I hate you, Tyler. Anthony said the Ravens defense can't carry the team like New England's defense did with Brady. Anthony, completely different league.
League when you could hit people.
But I will say the Ravens defense somehow got better. I will give them that.
They did.
They drafted Mike Green, the kid from Marshall. Yes, I think the kid off the football field tends to be a little bit of some words that I can't say on camera, but you know what? Is a good football player. They got edge rushers. Like I said, they drafted Mike Green. They have David Ojabo, who's finally starting to get a little healthy. Hopefully we could see a more expanded role for him this year. They have Odafe Oweh, who's coming off a 10-sack season.
Oh, yeah.
So you got Roquan Smith, one of the best middle linebackers in football. I know I made a YouTube short a couple of weeks ago about Fred Warner, and someone told me that I was crazy for thinking that he was better than Roquan, which is not that outlandish in my eyes.
No, Roquan's up
They
there.
They have the ageless Kyle Van Noy, who's coming off a year where he had 12.5 sacks.
Man.
And then you look at their secondary, man. This is Kyle Hamilton, one of the best young safeties in football. Marlon Humphrey coming off a big year where he had 6 interceptions, I believe. Yup, he had 6 picks. Then you go in, you draft freaking Malachi Starks. You have Nate Wiggins, who you just took last year in the draft. And if he's healthy, you added Jaire Alexander, man. And if he's healthy, that's a dangerous damn secondary.
It is. It definitely is.
What's up, Burnsy? What's up, Stephanie?
What's up, Burnsy? What's up, Stephanie?
We got the family is out tonight.
Oh,
the 609 group is out and about tonight. Oh, Anthony, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they somehow got better. And they're already a good unit.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's right. It does come down to the offense in these bigger games. They have their identity, and it works throughout the regular season. But sometimes it's too predictable in the postseason. That's when we see them fall short.
Yes, because you can only stop Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen consecutively so many times. What you saw, now let's use the example. Halfway through the third quarter, the Chiefs didn't pass midfield against the Philadelphia Eagles. You are never going to see that again from Patrick Mahomes. I guarantee it, for the rest of his career, you will never see Patrick Mahomes shut down like that again. I can guarantee it. He's too good of a player. He's too great of a player. He's too great for that. That just gives the credit to the defending champ. But either way, your defense in today's NFL has a more chance to lose you games in the final minutes than it is to win you one, because it's damn near impossible to get a 4-and-out, which basically in the playoffs, in the final minutes of a game, is what you need to do, since the percentage of going for it on 4th down is so much higher than it was back when Brady was in his prime in New England with those defenses.
Oh, yeah.
You either need to create a turnover or you're screwed. And the Ravens' defense has never been the problem, Anthony. Like you said, I agree with you. The problem is there's two things. You can only stop the great quarterback so many times. And look, Early on in his career, Lamar Jackson was under scrutiny for being an inaccurate passer. Well, guess what? Now this is starting to flip. He's getting better as a passer, but where's the postseason production?
Yeah.
We are starting to get to a point with Lamar where if it ain't this year, is it ever going to be? Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson going into this year both have very big chips on their shoulders when it comes to the postseason because both of them have to prove something.
Yep. Josh Allen's got a lot to prove. Now, granted, I think Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, they're kind of in the same boat. All Mahomes has to prove is that he can keep competing, winning Super Bowls.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Mahomes already won 3 of them.
Exactly.
Right? He only like Patrick Mahomes could literally never win again, but no one's going to worry about that because he's already won 3 of them.
Yep, and he still made it further than Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen did. He just happened to lose this time around, and he's made it further than them before and lost as well.
And he's also beaten them multiple times too.
Yeah, so yeah, it puts Lamar and Josh Allen in the same exact boat. They both just can't get over the hump.
No. So, I don't the Ravens aren't going to get over that hump until their offense shows up in the playoffs. And the problem is I don't think they have the personnel.
They don't, because Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, they're cool during the regular season. They'll get the job done while Derrick Henry's, rushing for over 100 a week. But in the playoffs, when you're playing a good team and they have his number and he's only rushing for 70 yards, that's when you need some people to step up. When Lamar's getting contained, he can't scramble and create those yards with his legs. That's when you need some people to step up.
Yeah, again,
they're never going to get there.
Yeah, and again, I know it feels like I'm beating a dead horse here, but look at the Super Bowl again. The Chiefs went into that game and said, we will not lose to Saquon Barkley. The problem was they forgot about the other 10 guys on the offensive side of the football.
Yep.
When Lamar can't run the football like crazy, he's got to pass the ball. And in the playoffs, he's yet to prove he's accurately doing it. I mean, last year against Buffalo, people didn't understand Lamar Jackson did not play well in that game. Nope. I don't care what Mark Andrews, that drop at the end of the game. Lamar Jackson did not play well in that game. And Anthony, I want to get to your comment because I know you're saying Joe Burrow went farther than Lamar. Absolutely he did. And that is why when I brought this up a second ago, I didn't say Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's been to the dance.
Yeah.
Now, it isn't Joe Burrow's fault that his practice squad offensive line couldn't block Aaron Donald. Not many all-pros can do that or could do that. Well, regardless of how this conversation is going, this is still the division for the Ravens to win. I don't know which one of these other 3 teams really pose a threat to them.
Yeah, I mean, it takes some really magical stuff for the Bengals to have a shot. I think they're the clear second place option because we don't know what Pittsburgh's going to do. Bringing in Aaron Rodgers, we don't know. He didn't have a terrible year last year, but we don't know if he's going to regress even more over this offseason. We don't know.
The Steelers, come on.
And it's the Steelers. You look at their depth chart. Calvin Austin is their second best wide receiver next to Robert Woods. DK Metcalf and who else? Oh, they got Scotty Miller, Ben Skoranek. They got all the 300-yard miracles from 5 years ago.
I don't know one of the guys that you just named, bud. Burnsy said Lamar Jackson is going to be another Dan Marino. Excellent regular season. numbers, but postseason flops unless he gets by Mahomes of Kansas City and Josh Allen of the Bills. Well, Burns, that's an excellent point. And Lamar was a throw away from getting past Josh Allen last year, but I don't want to act like, no offense, I don't want to sit here and act getting past Josh Allen's a consolation prize. Josh Allen has his own playoff demons to worry about.
Yeah. No, they got to make it to the Super Bowl. Winning it would be great for them, but they got to be there for them to be in that same category as Patrick Mahomes in the AFC.
I agree. But now going back to the Steelers, I have no clue what this team's going to be this year. So, absolutely not.
You got Aaron Rodgers. His starting running back is Jaylen Warren. His next best running back, Kenneth Gainwell.
Oh, boy.
Your best pass catcher, DK Metcalf. Your second best pass catcher is Pat Freiermuth. And maybe they can see what they can get out of Johnny Smith. I was going to say that. Give me some time, all right? So I guess that makes up for the lack of having no good wide receivers. This is going to be like the Ravens team that had it was Andrews. Who else? Help me out.
Hayden
Hurst.
And Nick Boyle.
Oh man, Nick Boyle's underrated. He was that guy. He was that guy that you didn't expect to do anything, and then he would do something.
Let's just go for the record here to say that Tyler had his most favorite time in football outside of the Eagles was watching the Ravens 3-man tight end group of Nick Boyle, Hayden Hurst, and Mark Andrews.
Because they will block, and then they'll go and catch the ball.
I'm pretty sure we were doing 609 at the time when they were around, and I swear at least once a show he didn't shut up about it.
Oh, yeah. I love the 3 tight end set. When you have no wide receivers and your quarterback can't throw the ball, which was, Lamar Jackson at that time, couldn't throw the ball, 3 tight ends out on the field, that's your best friend right there.
Also want to point out, Jonnu Smith actually had a career season this past year in Miami. He had 88 receptions for 884 yards and 8 touchdowns. The receptions and yards are career highs. The touchdowns, highs a career high, which he did back in 2020, 2021 with Tennessee.
Yeah.
So
they gotta. It's gotta be obvious, right? They gotta be running 2 tight ends on the field almost every down, because Freiermuth is your better blocker with really good strong hands. Jonnu Smith is your chain mover, your bigger play guy down the field with DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
So we got to see how it all comes together. I mean, I'm still not convinced. Defensively, you got Harmon out of the draft. That was a great pickup to where he fell to him at. Still got old reliable Cam Hayward. They got to get a deal done with TJ Watt. They need to stop messing around. They need to stop acting like their defense can be elite without him. They need him.
Oh, yeah. You've seen him when he's gone out of games in the past couple of years.
He's their change of pace player. And they got Pat Queen. They brought in Darius Slay. Got Deshaun Elliott out there, Juan Thornhill, Joey Porter. They got Jalen Ramsey. Still got to figure out who's playing what over there. Like, who's the nickel? I don't know. Because they all got to be starting. So who's starting in the slot? Who's going for it, guys?
May I have a second here?
Go right ahead.
Also, before I get into my little soliloquy here, I also do want to point out that outside of Watt, they still have Alex Highsmith, who's another one of their edge rushers. He had 6 sacks last year. only played in 11 games, so hopefully him healthy will help. They had Nick Herbig, who after Highsmith went out, ended up finishing the season with 5.5 sacks. I'm sure they're expecting more production out of him this upcoming year. They drafted Jack Sawyer.
Oh, yeah. Ohio State
and
guy.
They'll also have Peyton Wilson in year 2. He had a really good rookie season out of NC State, playing next to Pat Queen, so I'm sure they're expecting a bigger role for him this year. So, but once again, I think the Steelers defense is still good. I still don't like the Jalen Ramsey trade because of what you just said. Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay are not slot corners. A, because they've never played it. B, because they're too damn old to play it now. Yeah. And Joey Porter ain't no slot corner either. So unless Joey Porter's getting traded, with knowing the Pittsburgh Steelers, could I see them flipping Joey Porter for a wide receiver? Absolutely. I could see Porter to the Jets for Alan Lazard tomorrow.
Say shut up.
Look, I am solely convinced that the Steelers eventually are going to get Alan Lazard. It's just a given, okay? It's going to happen. But anyway.
Yeah, Bernsey said it best right there. That's the same way I feel about it. Like, I don't see the value that Ramsey added in regards to them losing a great safety like Minka Fitzpatrick.
Yeah,
and then to add on top of it, it's just compounding with adding on top of it. Now you have an overcrowded cornerback room with no slot corner. I think they're going to be forced to try to put Ramsey there, because out of all three of them, he's probably the only one talented enough to be able to try to transition and be good enough at it.
Unless they think Porter's physicality could translate down there. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe, but I feel like Porter's reactions aren't good enough.
Yeah, but Ramsey's old, man. Like, he's not.
That is true. But yeah, this just goes back to our point. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, and Anthony, look, Ramsey could have got traded all he wants. That's fine, but I don't like the fit. Because I am still the believer of kind of what Bernsey said in his comment. I think right this second, Minka is a better safety than Ramsey is a corner. I also think Minka was more valuable to the Steelers than Ramsey because they had already gotten Darius Slay to put next to Joey Porter Jr. That's a pretty solid duo. Young guy and Porter, who's still really good. Darius Slay, after what we saw last year. Now, am I expecting Darius Slay to be that Darius Slay again this year? No, because I don't think he has the talent around him like he did last year. I really like Darius Slay. I think Darius Slay benefited having all that young talent around him last year.
Yeah, and just the full system around him. You know, he had the players he could rely on, but the coaches he could also rely on as well. I don't know what he has over in Pittsburgh right now.
Christian Parker had him playing some of his best football at that age last year.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we don't forget these comments. Anthony said earlier, Pittsburgh does need a wide receiver. Teams are going to double team DK all season. Plus, I don't think TJ Watt is in training camp. I wouldn't be surprised if he held out either. It sounds like he's going to. Tyler, you brought up Bernsey's comment already, and I brought up Anthony's, and Bernsey said you were so right about that. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think Minka was more valuable because he could line up in so many ways on that defense. I personally don't know what they got. If anything, they got more. They lost versatility, and honestly, they lost a really good playmaker. I don't know what Jalen Ramsey is at this point. I know what Minka Fitzpatrick still is. Well, hey, Anthony, neither was the Jalen Ramsey from Minka Fitzpatrick trade, but here we are.
Oh, God. How about we talk about an actual good team in the AFC North? The Cleveland Browns. They're going to be good at losing. So that way they can tank and draft a quarterback next year.
Oh, dear.
Sanders is not your face of the franchise. I'm sorry, everybody.
You don't think?
Hell no.
You don't think that Shedeur Sanders can save the Cleveland Browns?
No. Joe Flacco's going to be the starter. Not going to even go as far to say that he won't be benched at some point. He probably will. He'll be meh, and then they'll be like, okay, let's just start throwing shit at the wall. Let's see what sticks. That's the game the Cleveland Browns are playing next year.
Oh, God. I mean, Shedeur Sanders, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel. Oh, good God. There's got to be some of them.
So if they actually had a legitimate quarterback, right? They drafted Quinshon Judkins, Dylan Sampson, and they still got Jerome Ford.
I think that running back room, I think we're going to be talking about this like 2 years down the road.
I think so, too.
Burnsy! Come on, Burnsy.
Oh, Burnsy. Jeez.
I think he just ruined Tyler's day.
Man. He couldn't even get his college team to the playoffs, Burnsy. How's he going to get an NFL team to the playoffs?
In the loaded AFC. But no, I back to what we were saying. I think that sorry, Birdie's comment is making me yawn. I think we're going to look back in about 2 to 3 years from now and talk about this running back room with Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson and how severely underrated they are.
Oh, yeah. So, with a competent quarterback, you got 1,200-yard receiver, Jerry Jeudy, who did that with all the struggling quarterbacks last year in Cleveland. They're trying to see what Deontay Johnson still has to offer to the league. No idea how that's going to work out. Tight end, you got David Njoku. And they drafted your favorite player, Sam, Harold Fannin Jr. That could be a really lethal 2 tight end set as well.
That could be a young quarterback's best friend.
It could. Or Joe Flacco's best friend.
Well, yeah, because I'm pretty sure I don't know if Joe Flacco is capable of getting the football to a wide receiver at this point.
Yeah.
I hope he is, though, because Jerry Jeudy last year, man, he was magnificent. 1,200 yards, 90 catches. Jerry Jeudy was all that in a bag of chips last year.
In a bag of chips.
Real quickly, so Burnsy is still adamant that he thinks Shedeur can lead them to the playoffs. Anthony said if he starts the season, it's a marketing gig. Anthony,
man.
Is it though? Or is it just that the other quarterbacks are that bad?
Now listen, I'll be very honest right now, all right? Shedeur Sanders is better than Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
The only reason he didn't get drafted higher was because of his dad.
Yeah.
But do I think Shedeur Sanders should be the starter next season? Not at all. The job's going to go to Joe Flacco. And Shedeur he's going to get a chance to start. I'm sure he will. And if he doesn't work out, they'll give Dylan Gabriel a chance to start. The only person who might not get a chance to start is Kenny Pickett. But at least he got a ring. Congratulations, Kenny Pickett.
At least Kenny Pickett got a ring.
Yep.
Burns is saying that he's gonna prove the world wrong. He wants us to give Shedeur a chance. Burnsy, we would love to.
Shedeur Sanders is going to be a I'll believe it when I see it kind of guy. Because I'm sorry, Burnsy, I haven't seen it. Anthony said, ain't no way Sanders is better than Joe Flacco. And he might not be, or at least not ready to be better than him yet. But it's probably going to get to a point where the Browns are still going to be so dysfunctional that they'll be losing too many games and they'll have to blame somebody. So it'll come down to Flacco and he'll get benched. You guys got to remember, I mean, Shedeur Sanders, cool. Whatever. Joe Flacco has won a Super Bowl. He's been around this league for God knows how long now. I don't even know how long. Drafted in 2008. He's 40 years old. He's got the veteran experience. He still had a solid year last year in a backup role. He's going to be the starter, at least for the first half of the season.
Yeah, and Anthony says right here, we'll see what happens during the final cutdown. Will the Browns keep all 5 quarterbacks? No.
Yeah. They should cut Deshaun Watson.
Shit, need that dead cap hit? Are you out of your mind?
Oh, man. So who do they cut? Right? Flacco's got to be your starter just because of the veteran experience. You traded for Kenny Pickett. Don't know why they did that.
Who has more experience than the 2 other kids?
Yeah. But I would still trust the other kids over Kenny Pickett. But it's that experience that's going to come into play. I think they're going to roster 5 quarterbacks. But the Browns, I don't feel bad for them. They put themselves in this situation. This is all on them. Why'd you have to be cute and take Dylan Gabriel over Shedeur Sanders just to prove a point? Because now you're either going to lose out on the fact that you traded for Kenny Pickett if you cut him, or if you decide to cut Gabriel and keep Sanders, what kind of sense does that make? You going to cut a guy you took in the 3rd round? No. I think they keep 5 quarterbacks.
Do you think they're going to keep all 5?
I think they will. I think they're going to be forced to. Because just think about it. Think of how much worse it's going to look for them if they cut any of them. Just any of them. Pick one. If you cut Joe Flacco, that looks terrible. You cut Kenny Pickett, that looks terrible because he was the backup quarterback for the Super Bowl champions.
Okay, listen.
But also who had starting experience in Pittsburgh. I get it. It wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Okay.
But that's more than fresh rookies coming into the league.
All right. Guys like Kevin Cobb in this league had starting experience, okay? Hold on. They gave up a 5th-round pick and DTR for him. It ain't like they traded a freaking holy grail for him.
But still.
Anyway.
You know what? They probably could have kept DTR and he probably would have made this roster.
He probably would have. Now he's on the bubble with the Eagles.
Oh, God.
Burnsy said, I would never think Shedeur will not get picked in the 1st round. Burnsy, I could have told you that was going to happen. I didn't expect him to drop where he did, but...
Yeah, I saw as a night 2 pick, but clearly we all know what happened, and that wasn't it.
Now, if you look at the Browns on the defensive side of the ball, there is some intriguing possibilities. I mean, they signed Malik Collins in free agency. They gave Myles Garrett his big contract. They drafted Mason Graham at defensive tackle. Man, their defensive line is loaded. So they finally got some interior pass rush help opposite of not just Myles Garrett.
Yep.
Linebackers, we all know JOK is going to miss the whole season. They did draft Carson Schlesinger, the kid out of UCLA, very promising young linebacker in the 2nd round. Still got everyone's favorite former Eagles, Jordan Hicks.
Jordan Hicks. I miss Jordan Hicks.
I actually do miss Jordan Hicks. I love Jordan Hicks.
Chip Kelly ruined Jordan Hicks. Prove me wrong.
I don't think I will. No, Jordan Hicks' injury history ruined Jordan Hicks.
Chip Kelly short-tempered and didn't help either.
He was
said,
here
"All right, buddy, out of here."
He was here past Chip Kelly.
Was he here past Chip?
He was on the team that won the Super Bowl.
Oh shit! Damn.
They just didn't re-sign him because he could never stay on the field.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah.
I remember Jordan Hicks on that team. How many games did he play that year?
He was one of the guys that got hurt that year, remember?
Oh, that's why.
And then if you go to their secondary, Grant Delpit, still one of the more, I think, underrated young safeties in the league. I mean, they got talent. Outside, they have Delpit. They still have they signed Rayshawn Jenkins in free agency. That'll help with a little bit of depth. Still got Denzel Ward. Greg Newsom's still there. So, sorry, Clint, if you're watching. I know you're not the biggest fan of him. But, you know, the Browns defense has talent on all three levels.
They do.
So, Jim Schwartz still has some room to improve with that unit. But it's a good unit. It's not the best unit in the league, but it's not the worst. The problem is, this is the point, though. The Browns have a talented roster, except for the most important position on the football field.
Exactly.
And that, unfortunately, is what's going to cost them.
Yep, because they're still suffering away with Deshaun Watson.
Anthony said if Dylan gets cut and he was drafted in the third round over a late round pick, that would be a wild story. It would.
That would. Realistically, if they did trim down to 4 QBs, Kenny Pickett's the guy out.
Yeah, agreed.
You're not cutting a rookie that you drafted. Joe Flacco's your starter. You're stuck with Deshaun Watson. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
I'm just wondering why Deshaun Watson's listed as questionable. Isn't he out the whole year?
They can't put him there. We haven't gotten to the season yet, so they can't put him. There is no IR list or anything yet.
Wait, once they get to that point, couldn't they IR him and then just go? Well, they would have 4 quarterbacks technically at that point instead of 5.
Yeah,
that could be another possibility then.
Watson will be on season-ending IR. He will not play this year. Have we basically covered this division? Have we missed anybody?
No. That's basically it for their division.
Did we talk about the Bengals at all? I feel like I didn't say a word about them.
Yes, we could talk about it. Let's see. Who we talk about? All right. Joe Burrow is going to be one of the top passers in the league next year. Chase Brown might have like 800 yards rushing. Maybe close to 1,000. I'll be generous. What else? Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Mike Gesicki, Orlando Brown Jr., Ted Karras, and Amari Sims, if he gets a little better for them this year.
Their line still stinks.
Their line stinks. That's it. It's past the football, and that's it. And then you want to talk about defense? Did you hear the crickets?
Yeah, right. Anthony said you heard it here first. This month, that will be a big trade before August 1st. Anthony, what sport are you talking about, man? Is that football, baseball, trade deadline, NBA? What, man? Don't make me freaking... Don't leave me with the anticipation.
Lacrosse.
Dang. Stop it.
Rugby.
Yeah, okay. Burns, you said Flacco has the best arm out of the Browns QBs, but that's not the future QB. I get that. Vets like Garrett are probably sick of hearing promises about the future, but given that there's a better QB class next year, yeah, honestly, if you are the veteran guys like Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward, and you've been here a while, you got to be sitting there like, can we just get this right for once?
And Myles Garrett had his chance to go to a winning team. And he said, you know what? I'm willing to be patient with you guys for the money. So I don't feel bad for him at all. He made his decision. Now he can sit there and hope that they can get a top pick next year in the draft and get someone really good.
Drew out.
I think Drew Aller is going to be the best quarterback because I don't think Arch Manning's coming out next year's draft.
Kay Klubnik may have something to say about that.
He does. It's going to be Aller and Klubnik's year this year to dominate college football.
I hope Kay Klubnik is going to the Cleveland Browns. I don't want Drew Aller going to Cleveland. I don't want him to ruin his life. I like Drew Aller. He's a good kid.
You know what? What if Drew Aller went to Pittsburgh?
Oh, God. Oh, geez, sweet sangria, help me. Drew, go back to school for another year.
So I know the Bengals defense put us to sleep, so we stopped talking about them. But we can wrap up with them real quick. If they decide to finally pay Trey Hendrickson, they get their best defensive player back.
Hold on. Anthony, then what would you like them to do?
Whoa. They have to, because so if you're saying that they're not going to draft the QB high next year, you're saying that they're okay going with either Gabriel or Sanders as their future quarterback. Unless if you want them to tank not last year or this year or next year, but to tank again until Arch Manning finally comes out of college. If you want them to tank every year up until that point, I mean, if a team can do it, it's the Browns, right?
What would you like them to do then? Anthony, we have sat here for the past 10 minutes talking about the fact that we have no idea if the Browns can even afford to cut one of the 12 quarterbacks on their roster because they all may have a chance to start. That usually means that you don't have a good quarterback.
If the Browns had a legit starting quarterback and maybe one more quality wide receiver too next to Jerry Jeudy, I'd probably put them as my second favorite team behind Baltimore.
Yeah.
Like, they're not that far off.
Like, let me ask you this. I know it's financially absolutely impossible because of the contract. Kirk Cousins is on the Browns.
Kirk Cousins is on the Browns, and we're not even talking about like having another wide receiver next to Jerry Jeudy. I'd put them fighting for second place against Cincinnati in that division.
Anthony, Arch Manning is not going to Dallas.
Oh, God. Please no.
Arch Manning will not get past any draft that the New Orleans Saints over the next 3 years.
Yeah. Just think. Dallas isn't even going to be that bad because Jerry Jones won't allow it to happen. He won't allow a tank season to happen to get Arch Manning.
Exactly. Jerry's just so damn senile, he thinks that this team's a Super Bowl contender every year.
Oh, yeah. Run it back.
Yeah, run it back. Been running it back since 1996.
But yeah. It's just it's the Ravens, and that's it. Nothing else convinces me in this division. Nothing else convinces me on the Bengals.
The Bengals are, once again, here we go. Only the Cincinnati Bengals can manage this stuff. Only the Bengals can manage to let some of the best defensive players walk in free agency, Jesse Bates, and then not only can they have a contract dispute with their only valuable defensive player left in Trey Hendrickson, they somehow can't even sign their first-round pick this year.
Who probably won't even get, let's see, a fifth of the sacks that Trey Hendrickson will.
He'll be lucky if he gets a sack. Kid couldn't get 2 sacks on a loaded A&M defensive line last year. You expect me to believe in that? No, we're not doing that here.
Let's not act like A&M was playing these star college teams every week. All right, they played some bums. You telling me he couldn't get to the quarterback? Yeah, okay, all right, yeah, he's a star guy.
Shamar Turner and Nick Scorton had no problem.
Yep.
And I watched a lot of A&M last year.
Yeah.
Anthony said if Jerry doesn't want to pay Parsons, he can be trade bait. Anthony, we know how that's going to go. Jerry's going to misplay his hand and give Micah the big contract, and we're going to be right back in the situation where Dallas has no money because they pay all the guys what they're expected to get.
Oh, no. Saw what Stephanie just put. I didn't even know Turpin had that going on.
Yep, that happened. It was either today or yesterday.
Oh, it was recent? Man.
Yep, it was recent.
Well, there goes another Dallas wide receiver down the drain.
Well, that's why they traded for George Pickens.
I'm not going to hold my breath on that.
I'm not going to go there.
Well, we'll see if he can avoid getting in any on-field fights and getting suspended.
Any on-field fights. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Tyler, you're terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I feel like somehow, Sam, the AFC South was more interesting to talk about than the AFC North.
It's because the AFC North is full of 3 of the 4 most controversial teams in the league. One team is stuck in 1979. Another team forgets that there's 11 other guys on the field that play this thing called defense, and another team's got so many.
I'm still going back to the 1979. Which team is that? There's like 3 of them that could apply to.
I'm talking about the Steelers. That team is stuck in 1979.
For the Browns,
and meanwhile, well, no, the Browns have just been through as many quarterbacks since 1979 than the Flyers have goaltenders, but that's another story for another day. If you want to hear 2 of the funniest sports stories ever, it's who has been through more. Browns with quarterbacks, Flyers with goaltenders. When the Flyers had a legitimate goaltender that played on the team in back-to-back years, I was 1.
Damn, that was a long time ago.
I was 1. So anyway, all right, Tyler, let's close out this this segment because we've almost spent an hour on this division. It's probably 20 minutes, way too long. How do you have this division going this year? Give me your standings.
I gotta do standings. Oh my gosh!
We've done it every week.
Gosh. Oh, this is the worst one though. All right.
You said that for the last 3.
Ravens 12 wins.
All right, so you have the Ravens going 12-5. I'm right there with you.
Bengals 9 wins. Pittsburgh
9 wins.
I'm going Pittsburgh at like 8 wins. Dude, it's the Steelers. They always hover around that range. They honestly might even sneak a few games and pass the Bengals. I don't know. It could be possible. You never know.
It's brutal.
Because they still got a nasty pass rush in Pittsburgh, man. The defense is still going to win them games, even though they got to figure out who the heck's playing slot corner.
And safety.
They'll figure it out, though. Hey, that's what pays off to have a defensive-minded coach, right? For how many years? Decades? Oh, man. And the Cleveland Browns. 3 wins.
How many quarterbacks get those wins?
You know what? I'm going to go Joe Flacco with 2 wins Then he's going to go on a really bad losing streak, and then they're going to try out Shadur Sanders, and they're still going to lose. And they might even throw Dylan Gabriel out there for like the last game or two, and he's going to lose them also. Wait, son, who got the third win? Oh, damn it. Hold up. Kenny Pickett got the third win in garbage time.
I got this. Joe Flacco's going to win 2 games, and then Shadur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel are going to combine for a Week 18 victory. Oh God, do I really have to do this? Give me the Ravens at 12-5, winning the division. Give me the Steelers 9-8, who's finishing second. Give me the Give me the Bengals 9-8 as well, but they lose their record. They lose out to the Steelers for second place, and then give me the Browns with true. The Browns are winning 2 games at that. Give me the freaking that. Knock it off.
2 games? Come on.
They're winning 2 games. Dude.
They're winning 3. Come on.
3. They're going to win 3. They're going to win 7 now because we
watch. Literally, they're going to win 7 and make everyone think they're going to fight for the division.
Myles Garrett's going to have 22 sacks by week 10. You're like, whoa.
Oh gosh.
Mason Graham's going to have 10 as a rookie. That's not that outlandish to think, though.
It's honestly not. Because if you're playing opposite of Myles Garrett, I think he could do pretty well.
Oh, I agree. Anthony has it. Ravens, Pittsburgh, Cincy, Cleveland. He also said Pittsburgh will have over 500 record. Of course, they'll be 9-8. That's the Tomlin special, 9-8.
Yeah.
Bernsey, it's a Cowboy player. Of course they got in trouble. All right, Tyler, let's conclude up to the second part of the show here. Let's get back into some NBA stuff. There's been a lot of stuff going on over the past week.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready this week.
And the first one we're going to talk about is, are you frozen or are you just that
excited? I'm ready.
And the first bit of news we're going to get into this week is the New York Knicks. Damn it. I just when I think the Knicks are finally pulling themselves out of the freaking mediocrity that they are, they find a way to dive headfirst back into it. Because not only did the Knicks get... Hold on. Not only did Tom Thibodeau get the Knicks to the playoffs 4 out of his 5 seasons, not only did Tom Thibodeau get the Knicks to the Eastern Conference Final for the first time since, 1994?
Yeah.
Not only did Tom Thibodeau help turn guys like Jalen Brunson into an all-star caliber player, this has easily been the best run of basketball that Knicks fans have seen in how long?
They were tearing down the city like they won the finals.
Yeah, after a Game 2 victory.
Yeah. And then the rest of the series happened.
Because Tyrese Halliburton happened.
Yeah.
So the Knicks decide to fire Tom Thibodeau. And look, if you think you can go out there and improve your team, I'm not discrediting you. Look at the Phillies. They fired Gabe Kapler. They hired Joe Girardi. He didn't work out. They fired him. They gave it to Rob Thompson. Philly's been one of the best teams in the National League since. Postseason every year to Rob Thompson. World Series appearance. I'm all cool with having to change the voice. But to replace Tom Thibodeau, you hire Mike Brown. Yes, everybody, that Mike Brown, who coached LeBron in Cleveland the first time. Not the third time, not the 12th time, the first time. Tyler, go ahead. I can't do this right now.
What am I supposed to say to make this better? You just said it best. They got worse. They better hope that in his time of being a head coach that he was able to reinvent himself and somehow become this miraculous head coach. Because if the Knicks are worse this year than how good they were this year, there's going to be some major issues and a very, very upset fan base because they got the talent on the roster. They just need a coach to help put it together. And you went and you fired the coach that got you that far for Mike Brown. Man, I hope they know what they're doing because I sure don't know what they're doing.
And look, man. And look, I don't want to go out here and bash Mike Brown. Mike Brown's a solid coach. Didn't he just win Coach of the Year in Sacramento like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Look, man, this isn't knock Mike Brown, but for a team that's next year could easily be a top 2 seed in the Eastern Conference with what's going on in Boston and in Indiana.
Yeah.
I would have easily held on to Tom Thibodeau.
Run it back.
Anthony, I'm glad you brought this up because I honestly think that Leon Rose is more to blame for the Knicks because I don't think they gave him the team that he wanted to coach. As much as we like to joke about Julius Randle, guess what? Him, DiVincenzo, and Hartenstein, they were the 3 anchors on the defensive side of the floor for Thibodeau 2 years ago. Yeah. They got rid of all 3 of them for an aging 3-point shooting center. And I love Cat. Don't get me wrong. I think Cat's one of the best scoring bigs in the league. He ain't Tom Thibodeau's ideal center. Them letting Hartenstein walk for basically nothing to ultimately just have him end up as an NBA champion a year later, that's where this started. Bridges trade, okay, whatever. I wouldn't have traded 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, but whatever. It is what it is. I've seen crazier things done. But the fact that Thibodeau preaches defense, and you got rid of 3 of his best defensive players.
Yeah.
I like that they kept Mikal Bridges at OG. If you would have kept Hartenstein, that defensive front court right there, that's scary.
That would have been a lot better.
Then you got Josh Hart, who's nothing but the king of hustle. As dumb as a shooter that Randall was, which I think that's a big thing why the Knicks, they weren't a fan of the shot selection that Randall always took. Who was. But I don't know. What has Mike Brown done to make you think that's an upgrade?
I don't know.
I don't see
it. They can't finish anything less than what they did this past season. One, because your biggest competitors are down their superstars now. So you got to make the push. Now, with a fully healthy Cleveland team, I think they're going to be the team to beat.
Oh, without a doubt.
If the Sixers can stay healthy, they'll be up there. But other than that, the Knicks should be up there in the talks of the top 3, top 4 teams.
Even healthy, the Knicks are better than the Sixers. Sixers got a whole bunch of stuff to get through before we even talk about that. I see where you're going with it. I'm not saying you're wrong, but
no, I'm just shocked.
Well, that Knicks team's actually played more than 5 games together on the court, so there's the first thing. Chemistry.
They actually made it to a conference finals too.
Well, that's another story for another day. But no, I still think Philly could be a top 5 seed next year if healthy, if Embiid's healthy and George plays and Maxi's back. You got McCain, who I still think was Rookie of the Year till he got hurt. I mean, if you watch the first Summer League game, VJ Edgecombe looks like he looks like a pimp. It looks like that looks like another. He's not hurt. He rested.
They said we've seen enough from you, kid. We'll see you in the regular season.
Yeah, because you can't necessarily say you're sitting him out for rest. The NBA changed that rule. You have to designate him with something.
How's your thumb feeling? I could use a night off.
Exactly.
Dropping too many buckets out there.
Yeah. I had to carry the Summer League squad. I better get used to the season, so I would take the rest of the summer off. Now, Philly still needs to find a power forward because they don't have a legit power forward on their roster right now. They can't go with Paul George. They're too
My
small.
team has one. My team finally is able to do it, Sam. It looks like they're going to have Bam as the starting power forward instead of being a small center, and they're starting Kelly Ware at center.
You guys are going to have some of the worst spacing in NBA history.
As long as Andrew Wiggins is healthy, we won't.
You're going to have a 4 and a 5 that need to both be around the basket. Good luck with that.
Hey, man.
Well, wait a minute. No, because you just got Norman Powell. Where's Wiggins playing?
Small forward. They might start Powell as shooting guard.
So who's your point guard? Oh, good.
Yeah, Hero became a point guard. I don't know at what point last season that happened, but he's not a shooting guard anymore. He's a point guard.
You got a shooting guard playing point guard, 2 spot-up shooters, and 2 bigs that can't shoot. Oh, man, you're screaming 35 wins.
Excuse you? I got a point guard who can average 24 a game, shooting guard who can average 21 a game. Andrew Wiggins, if he stays healthy, can average 18 a game. Bam can average 18 a game. And Kelly Ware in his second year could probably average like 12 points a game.
Anthony, hold on a second now.
All right, Anthony. All right, buddy. You lost me here, Anthony. You lost me. You have ignited me, Anthony.
I do like the Norman Powell acquisition for the Heat because here's the thing. He's on an expiring contract. If they play well enough, that starting 5, I still think that starting 5 will be fine. It's a lot better than most teams that you'll see.
It's a lot better than what we had last year. Sam, I don't have to watch Duncan Robinson in the starting 5. Do you not understand how big this is?
No, you get to watch him drop 7 threes a night on the Pistons.
And that'll be his best game of the season. Because it's either he's on or he's off. There's no average game from Duncan Robinson.
But seriously, just say this. If anything, this starting 5 for the Heat, and they can still add some pieces to the bench throughout the rest of the offseason. Not only that, if the Heat don't turn out
up last year as well.
What's that?
We still have Rozier that was banged up last year as well. Rozier will be.
Is Rozier still there? I thought he was a free agent.
Not that I think of. He's still rostered for them.
No, okay. I swore he was a free agent.
They brought back Davion Mitchell on a cheap deal. More depth off the bench. We got the rookie that we drafted.
Don't forget that.
Bars. Who's that?
You still got Alec Burks.
Alec Burks
gets some buckets, man. Yeah.
Hold up. I need to try to find a more up-to-date depth chart.
Ace of Jaime Jaquez, see what he can do for you next year.
Yeah. He seems like a guy who takes a little bit to develop. I think he could be better off the bench.
I can see that. Like you said, you have Davion Mitchell.
Think of the defensive fits, though, that you would give teams. They were giving teams problems defensively with Duncan Robinson trying to play out there. Play defense.
Yeah.
Having a true big man now, having Bam out there at the power forward, he can guard any position. The season hinges on Andrew Wiggins and actually playing a whole year.
Why do I have this god awful feeling? And it's a god awful feeling that Kevin Love is going to be a Sixer.
Wouldn't shock me. You think he's going to get bought out?
They already said he probably is. I have this god awful feeling he's going to be a Sixer. My God, they're going to start Kevin Love and Kyle Lowry over VJ Edgecombe guys, aren't they?
Oh gosh.
But seriously, back to the Norman Powell acquisition. Norman Powell had a great year last year with the Clippers.
He did.
And look, if you guys are in the thick of things in the East next year, the one thing I'll say about the Heat, they have a deep. They're deep. They're not great in they're not top heavy. They're just really solid throughout. That's how I would look at it. And Spoelstra, he's going to get Spoelstra would get the best out of anything.
Oh yeah.
You could probably take Ben Simmons down there and turn him into something.
Even my knockoff version of Nikola Jovic, he's turning into a solid role player in the NBA. He's averaging 10 points off the bench.
And you still have Highsmith, very solid wing defender.
Mm-hmm. So, trust me, with how in shambles the Heat were last year, with everything blowing up with Butler, I think this year, after everything calmed down and the moves that they've been able to make, I was shocked when I saw that we actually did something useful. And it wasn't signing a player that averages like 10 points a game.
Yeah, and guess what? Say you're kind of out of it by the deadline. Powell's on the expiring deal. You move him to a contender for some more assets.
Yeah. But no, this team, led by Eric Spoelstra, the greatest active coach in the league today, they're going to compete.
Yeah. All right, let's move down some other lists that we have here for this past week. DeAndre Ayton is officially a Los Angeles Laker.
Welcome to the retirement home, buddy.
He's 26, dude.
And early retirement.
Do teams not understand how to build a team around anybody anymore? No. LeBron James, if he's still a Laker by the season, because it sounds like he may not be. Even if they chose to move him and build around Luka, a low post center ain't the way to do it.
Nope.
I mean, if he can get back to what he was doing for the Suns in a couple years ago in the postseason, then maybe, but I don't know about this at all. I really don't.
I have zero confidence.
Is that all we have to say about DeAndre Ayton? Is that just where did it go wrong, man? I mean, this guy was supposed to be a walk-in 20 and 10.
I just think what happened was like,
dude, DeAndre Ayton has officially joined the Greg Oden fan club of I'm 26, but I look way older than my body feels 40, but I'm 26.
He really fell out hard with the Suns and the coaching staff at the time. They kind of just pushed him to the back of the line as far as a scoring option. And I feel like it just kind of mentally took him out of the game. And he hasn't been able to find it yet. Maybe he can find that again with the Lakers. I don't know.
Maybe. But it was definitely, I mean, you remember when they first got Kevin Durant, he was still there. There was no fit whatsoever.
Yeah.
They were so much better off when they had Chris Paul, wanted to get.
I think they promised Ayton a bigger role in the offense, and then they went and traded for Kevin Durant. And then it was like, oh yeah, screw you.
Even though most of their moves came before last week's show, the Denver Nuggets continued a very impressive offseason of bolstering their second unit with the signing of Tim Hardaway Jr. Since the offseason began, the Nuggets have added now Hardaway Jr., Bruce Brown, Jonas Valanciunas, if he still chooses to play basketball in America, and Cameron Johnson. Tyler, are we looking at the Nuggets as trying to get back at the Thunder for last year? Because I'll tell you, man.
Oh, yeah.
These are really good fits.
Oh, I definitely think so. Trust me. The Nuggets, they weren't just a team that got hot and got lucky. They have a lot of talent built on that roster. They're a well-built team. they'll be making noise next year in the Western Conference.
I mean, you got your two cornerstones with Murray and Jokic. Aaron Gordon has had a really good run there in Denver. Christian Braun last year took over as a starter, was sensational. I think Cameron Johnson is a better fit than Michael Porter Jr. was, even though Porter Jr. was fine.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, you go back and get Bruce Brown. You get that wing defender off your bench. Tim Hardaway still can put the ball in the basket. And Jonas Valanciunas, a perfect backup for Jokic because he can still put the ball in the basket. He can stretch the floor a little bit. I think the Nuggets, man, I think there's a chance, man. We may be talking about them in the Western Conference Finals next year.
Yeah, I can see it.
Now, let's get to our last little piece of news this week for the NBA. What about the Milwaukee Bucks, man? Miles Turner leaving the Pacers.
Oh, man. You know, he didn't even inform the Pacers.
Well, apparently, this all started because he wanted the Pacers, who claimed during the finals, oh, we'll go into the luxury tax for him. And he wanted something similar to what Naz Reid got in Minnesota. Now, I don't know about you. I think Miles Turner is a way better player than Naz Reid is. I think Reid's a good sixth man. But Miles Turner, face the floor, he takes off the dribble as a center a little bit, block shots, rim defender. I really like that move for the Bucks, man.
Oh, yeah.
And Damian Lillard no longer there.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that? On all these moves in Milwaukee that are just kind of like...
Well, at first when you heard about Dame, it was almost like, wow, they're kind of giving up. The Bucks might be looking at a rebuild. And then they went out and got Turner, and it's like, okay, maybe they're still trying to put something together here. I'm still not fully sold on them. I definitely think they're lacking another scoring option. But I don't know who they're going to fill it with. Who can they fill it with?
Well, here's what I'm looking at right now for the Bucks next year. They also signed Jericho Sims in free agency. Now, Sims actually was showing some promise as a backup center with the Knicks here and there, so he'll probably be Turner's backup. They re-signed Taurean Prince, who shot 43% from three last year for them. They brought back Bobby Portis. They have Kyle freaking Kuzma. And now here's where it gets really bad. Their depth at guard. They signed Gary Harris in free agency. But right now, their guards they have are Gary Trent, who they also re-signed. Gary Trent actually played well for them off their bench last year. He averaged 11 points per game, 41 from three. And they also have Kevin Porter, who also last year for Milwaukee, in 30 games, averaged 11 a game and shot 40% from three. So, but outside of those two, I don't really. And they also just re-signed Ryan Hollins to a 3-year deal. He averaged 6 points per game last year and shot 40% from three. So, I feel like when we talk about Milwaukee, we're forgetting them, man, with Giannis and how good they can be.
Yeah.
Real quickly, Anthony says that people are sleeping on Dallas. We'll talk about that in a second, Anthony. He also said Turner didn't want to stay, I'm guessing because of Hallie being out next year. And then Anthony said this Greeks last year, I don't see him staying after this. It depends on what they do. But do you think they have enough? First of all, I think Turner and Giannis in the front court is a really interesting option.
It is interesting, but I mean, I'm just worried about if it's going to get overcrowded with the both of them.
In what way?
Like, I mean, Turner is better at spacing the floor than Giannis is.
He's literally going to replace the Brook Lopez.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, at this point in Miles Turner's career, he's better than what Brooke Lopez was giving you. Brooke Lopez gave you a lot,
for a
but
long time.
yeah, that is that's a pretty damn even replacement or even upgrade in most categories.
Oh, I think Turner, in terms of athletically, defender inside the 3-point line, I think he's a big upgrade.
He's definitely a stronger in the low post.
I personally think Kuzma fits better coming off the bench as a six-man role because I don't know if he can. I think Torian Prince fits the small forward position better as a spot-up shooter. The problem is I have with the Bucks. Who in the world is playing the 1 and the 2? I mean, I got an idea. Why don't you give Portland a call and go get an old friend back? Why don't you go see what Drew Holiday's availability is?
That's one player they should have never got rid of.
I agree. If you put Drew Holiday, even just as a defender and a facilitator, that's not Giannis. If you put him on this Bucks team, I think the Bucks are a top 4 seed in the East next year, up there with New York and Cleveland, and Philly. If you want to put Philly in there right now,
yeah, I can see it.
And then of course we got now Anthony saying not to sleep on Dallas. I wouldn't. They were healthy.
Yeah, Dallas on paper is a very good team. What's the availability on their stars? That's the concern.
I mean, you're looking at the team. You got Cooper Flag, Kyrie. They brought in D'Angelo Russell for what reasons I will never know. Klay Thompson, who honestly did not have a bad year last year in Dallas. 14 points per game, almost out 40% from 3.
Okay.
Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford, Caleb Martin, which I just find so funny that the Sixers traded him after 12 games into his career in Philly. PJ Washington, and Derek Lively, even though it does sound like PJ Washington could be available for trade since he's on an expiring contract. Sixers. Anyway. Oh, you give me PJ Washington. I'll see you in October, man. You give me PJ Washington. I'll see you in October. I guess they're kind of looking at D'Lo as maybe he could be a filler until Kyrie's back, and then when he's back, they could just put him on the bench.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what their plan is. And then, you could definitely provide some decent minutes off the bench.
Yeah, but that's the biggest thing with Dallas. And I know Anthony said that people are sleeping on them. The biggest issue with them is their health with Kyrie and Anthony Davis. If they're not healthy, then I don't know what they really are. But, Tyler, before we get out of here, we did have some breaking news before the show started today.
We did. Some bigger breaking news.
Paolo Banchero getting a nice 5-year rookie maximum extension that could be worth up to, what was it, I believe, $287 million.
Yep, got a big extension.
And now that locks in Banchero, Franz Wagner, and Jalen Suggs all in Orlando for the next 5 years. That's another team that I don't think we're talking about enough either. That if they with the acquisition of Desmond Bane with them, I think that team could be really good next year. I may have to get my league pass back. May have to go pay the old price for league pass.
Sam's not missing a game.
Yeah, it's like $160.
That's generous.
But I mean, you look at the Magic. You have your core together. Suggs, Wagner, Banchero. Those are your three guys. Now you add a Desmond Bane to that. I think that's a really good team down in Orlando. I think if they're healthy, because remember last year they were banged up. Wagner missed some time. Banchero missed time. Suggs ended up being out for the year after early March, so he was out for the year. But if you have a Desmond Bane now, you have guys that can you can fill the production if one of those guys were to miss some time. So, no, I like this. I like what the Magic are doing. I think they're another one that could be a potential top 5 seed.
Yeah, no, they'll be in there. They'll be competing. That's for sure.
I mean, if you had to look at the offseason right now, if healthy, let's just say all these teams are healthy, Tyler, who do you think could be the top 5 in the East next year? I know it's way too early for this, but why not?
Too early predictions.
Just give me your top 5. Doesn't have to be in order.
Top 5, no order. Knicks, Cavs, Sixers, oh, this is actually interesting. Bucks.
Okay.
Give me the Heat. I'm confident they're winning games next year. They'd be my 5th fringe team. I see them. They could finish around the 5th or 6th seed next year.
All right. If I had to look at it, I'm going to go Cavs, Knicks, Magic, Bucks. I want to say Philly, but then I also really think that the Pistons could be in there too. Don't forget about them.
The Pistons will be good. I think they're going to be one of the top 5 seeds. I don't know.
I think the Hawks are going to be better too.
You think the Hawks too? The Hawks, they strike me as still that 7th, 8th seed team.
Maybe, man, but I mean, look, they got Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They brought in Luke Kennard, so that's 2 more shooters to add around Trae Young. They brought in Porzingis.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is it could be interesting. That's all I'll say.
It could be interesting.
I find it funny that the DeJounte Murray experiment only lasted, 2 seasons?
Yeah, right.
And they moved him already?
Yep.
So, but yeah, I think that's it. I'll go Knicks, Cavs, Magic, the Sixers, and Milwaukee. I still think Indiana's going to make noise too, even without Halliburton. They still got Siakam, they still got Nembhard, they still got Neesmith.
Yeah.
They got to replace Miles Turner, but I think the Pacers are still going to make some noise next year.
I was more confident in the Pacers without Halliburton before they lost Turner.
That's the big kicker for me.
Yeah. I feel like if they did retain him, I think they could have been easily a playoff team again this year.
Oh, without a doubt. But now, and I don't really know what they've done in terms of, have they even replaced Miles Turner?
No.
I mean, I guess they're going to be, they did get Jay Huff from Memphis, so. Now, he appeared in 64 games last year. He averaged 7 points per game. He shot 40% from 3, so he's actually got a little bit of a shooting touch. So, Maybe. What's up, Mikey? No, Mikey didn't go to Vegas. Another guy that maybe you'll see an expanded role for next year is Isaiah Jackson, if he's healthy. He was another guy they really liked early last year. He tore his Achilles early in the season, so.
Yep.
I could see, though, next year, maybe they go a little smaller. Maybe they play Siakam at the 5 more and Toppin starts more games.
I can see it.
I mean, you're going to have to figure something out. You also got to figure out who's starting at point guard, too. Because without Halliburton, I don't know what they're doing.
Yep.
But I guess that is all just a wait-and-see moment. All right, Tyler. We got anything else you want to talk about tonight?
That's about all I got.
All right, everyone. I think we're going to call it a night here at 609 Sports Talk. Another fun episode. I want to thank everybody for commenting in tonight, from Mike, Anthony, Stephanie, Bernsey, Matt. I know you were here earlier. Carol, all you guys. We appreciate all your comments. You guys make the shows week in and week out so much fun for us. We really appreciate it. Next week, we'll be wrapping up our NFL division fallout from the offseason with the favorite division that me and Tyler have been hanging on to, the NFC North. Now, that will be one next week to be excited for. So we'll have that and whatever other stuff comes along the way. Maybe some baseball next week. Maybe some NBA news if there is any. But, Carol, you have yourself a great week as well. Thank you for joining us as always. So, guys, hope you all have a safe week. Hope you all enjoyed tonight's episode. And also, by the way, while we are still here, please, everybody, please give a heart your thoughts and prayers to the state of Texas and what they have had to endure this weekend with all the flooding. And we are just, our thoughts and prayers and our hearts go out to all the people that are either still missing, have been found safe and sound with their families, or unfortunately, we know the other option. I don't think I need to name it. So our thoughts and prayers and hearts go out to the state of Texas and all the stuff that they are going through right now. And we hope that they are able to recover from this and hopefully they can start rebuilding their lives. And I heard there's another storm coming down there within the next couple of days.
Yep.
So please, if you are down there, stay safe. And please, just our thoughts and prayers are with all of you. So everyone, have a safe rest of your week. And we will see you guys next time. For Tyler Adams, I am Sam Nelson. Good night, all.